My clock says 6:30. So we'll start the Town of Easton Zoning Board of Appeals Zoom meeting for Tuesday, May 4th, 2021. The rules on this for anybody who's new to a Zoom meeting. If you want to, if there are members of the public that would like to be recognized, there's a raise hand function at the bottom of Zoom. If you're calling in from a phone, you can hit *9 to raise your hand. We will call on you when the appropriate time during the hearing comes about. And obviously, if anybody has any questions, you can raise your hand and I'll get to you as soon as we can. Ask you when you do speak, announce yourselves and state your address as well for the record. Let's see. First hearing up tonight is public hearing variance number 21-5. Applicant is seeking zoning relief from the minimum continuous lot requirement to construct a single family home on property located at 212 Pequantucket Avenue. Mr. Secretary, would you like to read any comments into the record?
Sure. Public notice. The Town of Easton Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, May 4th, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. to be held remotely on the petition of Variance, Kyle E. Fossum and Adriana M. Fossum for property located in 212 Pequantucket Avenue, Easton, Assessors Map 5R, Lot 24A for a variance pursuant to Easton Code Book, Chapter 235, Zoning Section 235-16, Appendix B, Paragraph 12 as follows. The applicant seeks zoning relief from a minimum continuous lot requirement to construct a single-family home on the property. This notice is also available at masspublicnotices.org. The following comments: DPW, not applicable. Fire Department, complete and no concerns. Historical Commission, not applicable. Affordable Housing Trust, not applicable. Environmental Planner, status of recommend with the following comment. Conservation Commission approves house construction on this site with conditions that include following sustainable lawn practices, driveway, drainage, and naturalized plantings between stone wall and wetland. See Easton Order number 1657. Planning and Zoning Board recommends. Their comment was as follows. On April 12th, 2021, the Planning and Zoning Board discussed the applicant's application for a variance at 212 Pequantucket, voted 3-0 to recommend the application with two conditions. One, the shared driveway is to remain in the existing location per the plan. And two, the heritage stone wall bordering Pequantucket Avenue is to be repaired from access opening created during initial site work post original special permit to the original condition. And that's it.
Thank you, sir. Members sitting on this hearing are myself, Steve Merlin, Tim McCall, John Curran, and Ed Watson. All right. Rick, why don't you introduce yourself and your clients and the project, and the floor is yours.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. My name is Frederick Casavan. I'm an attorney for the applicants, Kyle and Adriana Fossum. We're both on the call tonight. And they're requesting a variance from section 235-16 appendix B12, which states that the minimum lot width shall require that each residential lot shall have 150 feet of frontage width and at least 100 feet of horizontal distance between the side lot lines at the minimum front yard depth of 100 feet. Just a little history. The same variance we're requesting was granted for this property back in 2010 in favor of Mr. Packer, Eugene Packer, who was at 210, I believe. Following the grant of the variance, Mr. Packer recorded an A&R plan dividing the property into two lots identified as lot A and B. A copy of that plan was submitted with the application. The property had been conveyed several times since 2010. Ultimately, Kyle and Adriana Fossum purchased in November of 2020, really in reliance on that variance that was on record. They granted a purchase money mortgage to buy the property and engaged a builder and are, ready and hopeful to construct their home. They do intend on making this their residence and become, residents of the town of Easton. So the variance, if you look at the plan, there's really a bottleneck sort of shape coming off of the road in the front of the property. And Mr. Chairman, it may be helpful if I could share a screen.
If you can, go right ahead. If you can't, for whatever reason, I may or may not be able to do it because I don't have my Zoom program on the same.
Okay, I think this.
See if I can get it.
Okay, I think this is a
Yeah, I got
plan.
it.
Can everyone see that plan?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so you can really kind of see this where I'm sort of spinning my cursor here. This is sort of this bottleneck that occurs. And I can try to make that a little bigger. And you can see we're not hitting that 100 feet in horizontal line. It's, according to this, at the shortest width, it's 99.28 at 87 feet from the front. So that's the need for the variance. It's sort of this bottleneck section of the lot, sort of an odd shape. So again, there's plenty of frontage. It's 160 and change of frontage. It's just this kind of unique shape of this lot that's requiring the variance.
Rick, where's the house gonna go?
Sure, I could share that with you.
And you can kind of move the cursor if you want, if that's easier, but
Yeah, the house will be in this vicinity here.
it will. Okay.
There is a plan. I can.
Yeah, I think it was too. It's not putting my hands on it at the moment.
Let me see. I can share that with you as well. So try to zoom in.
Yep.
But the house is right here.
Okay.
And so otherwise, the house, the lot's fine for purposes of zoning. It's just this, again, this sort of unique shape of this lot, which is causing the requirement for the variance, which again was granted in 2010, and we would ask that it be granted again.
Okay.
I'd submit to the board that based on my written submission that would meet the requirements under your bylaw, section 23554, and under Mass General Laws, chapter 48, section 10, to grant the variance. And I'm available for questions, and the Fossums are as well.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Steve?
None.
Tim?
None.
Okay. John?
Nope.
Ed? Was that a no, Ed? No questions? You're not muted. You should be working. No?
I did see the piece of paper with the no on it.
Yeah, I saw that too. So is there anything you guys would like to add before I open up to see if anybody has any questions and that's otherwise attending?
Nothing to say, especially just that we're very excited about the prospect of being able to build and make Easton our home.
Okay. I don't have any other questions. I'll give everybody a minute here I don't have any raised hands for this hearing. If there are any members of the public that would like to speak on this, please indicate that now if you can. I'll give everybody a minute here. Rick, just to get back to one issue, and I didn't see it on the plan, but it was quick. Is the driveway going to be off of Pequannock, or is it coming off of the shared driveway?
Kyle, do you have the answer to that?
Yes, the driveway will be coming off of Pequannock.
It is, okay. And do you guys have any issues with the conditions that both the Conservation Commission and the Planning Board recommended?
None.
Okay. Okay, no one has raised their hand, so I'm going to assume there are no members of the public that would like to speak at this time. Unless you guys or your attorney, Rick, if you guys have anything you want to add, feel free. If not, I can take a motion from somebody to close the hearing.
Motion to close the hearing. Oops.
Okay,
No,
before
no.
we get a second on that or vote on it, Rick, were you going to say something?
No, I just wanted to thank you for your time. That's all. We're ready for you to go to a vote. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. All right, motion by Mr. Merlin to close the hearing. Anybody have a second on that?
Seconded.
Seconded by Mr. McCall. All those in favor? Steve?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Ed? Is that a yes? Nod? Okay, we have a yes from Ed officially. And I will vote to close the hearing as well. Do we want to take a vote on this now or table it until after the next hearing?
Motion to approve, subject to the conditions of both the planning board and the Conservation Commission.
Good enough. Motion made by Mr. Merlin to approve with conditions.
Seconded.
By Mr. McCall. All those in favor? Steve?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Ed? Already written, right? Yeah, there you go. And I vote to approve as well. Congratulations, guys. Good luck with everything.
Thank you
Thank you
so
very
much.
much.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Mr.
We'll get
Mayor.
that decision filed with the clerk's office in a few days, and that'll start the appeal period.
Thank you all. Really appreciate your time.
All right, have a good night.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks. You too.
Good night.
Good night.
All right, so this takes me a few minutes to get reacclimated. All right. While we introduce the next one, next hearing is 6:35, public hearing, variance number 21-6. Applicant is seeking zoning relief from the side yard setback for a proposed shed for property located at 491 Foundry Street. Mr. Secretary, if you'd care to read the notice and any comments?
Certainly. Town of Easton public hearing. The Easton Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, May 4th, 2021 at 6:35 p.m. to be held remotely on the petition. Variance Global Montello Group Corp. for property located at 491 Foundry Street, Easton, Mass. Assessors map 45U, lot 6, for a variance pursuant to Easton Code Book, Chapter 235, zoning, Attachment 2, Appendix B, dimensional and density regulations as follows. Applicant seeks zoning relief from the side yard setback for a proposed shed. This notice is also available at masspublicnotices.org. And I'll read the following comments. Historical, Affordable Housing Trust, Environmental Planner, all are not applicable. The fire department gives it a complete with no issues. DPW, not applicable. Planning and zoning did not recommend. On April 12, 2021, the Planning and Zoning Board discussed variance 21-6, 491 Foundry Street. The board took no action on this variance petition. Let's see if there's anything else. No, that's it.
Okay, so I'm gonna. Okay, so the planning board, they didn't recommend, but they didn't also not recommend.
Deny,
They
right?
they just took no action on it. Okay. All right, so let's see, members of the board sitting on this hearing, myself, Steve Merlin, Tim McCall, John Curran, and Jeremy Kay on this one. Mr. Crimmins, how are you?
I'm well, Mr. Chairman. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. You
Good to
read a
see you.
lot, huh?
Pardon me?
I said you read a lot, huh?
Yeah, it's amazing what you can do nowadays.
Yeah, I like the background. So anyways,
Thank you.
floor is yours. You can introduce the application and what it is your client's looking for.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, members of the board. For the record, Attorney Barry R. Crimmins of 909 Washington Street in Stoughton, here on behalf of the applicant Global Montello Group Corp. Regarding the variance application that Mr. McCall read the legal notice for. I think most, if not all, of the members will recall that we were before you just a little less than a year ago for a special permit application regarding the redesign and rebuild of this site under the new brand of All Town Fresh. And actually, the new convenience store has just opened up last month. So if you haven't had a chance to stop by, I would encourage all of you to do so. It's a beautiful store, both inside and out. Much like the name suggests, All Town Fresh. If you recall, when we were before you last year, the food is prepared on site. And our application last year, if you recall, was to add the outdoor seating area to the right side of the building, which has been constructed. And as I said, the new store just opened, I believe, on April 12th. What happened in the course of redesigning the store and remodeling it, and with the new kitchen facilities that were added to it, it was discovered during the course of construction that I think one thing that was a bit lacking was storage space. And what exacerbated that need for storage space was the additional requirements as a result of the pandemic for sanitation, cleaning supplies, and the like. So what we are proposing, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and we looked to try to find a location on the site that would meet the required setback. But unfortunately, the only location on the site that really was practical, if not probably close to feasible, is the proposed location opposite the driveway on that left side of the building. So, Mr. Chairman, if the members have the plan, I probably don't need to share my screen, but if you would like, I could share my screen to pull up the site plan.
I don't think so. Does it, well, unless, let me not talk for everybody. Does everybody have the plan? Does anybody need it shown?
I have it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds like everybody has
Yeah,
it.
I think we're all good.
Okay, great, thank you. So I have it. If it looks like I'm looking away from you, Mr. Chairman, I'm just looking at my other monitor.
That's okay.
Where I have the site plan up on my screen, and you can see we're proposing it on that left side, right at that almost a right angle in the property, and that's really what creates our issue as far as the setback. The area behind and to the left of that, there's a wetland area out there, so we really can't put it out in that area. You'll see that there's a fence, a chain link fence around that wetland area. The only other spot that feasibly this could be located that it could meet the setback would be out behind the car wash, but that kind of defeats the purpose. The idea here is to have it in a location where the employees can access the storage shed, fairly easily.
Mhm.
There is a door on the left side of that building. It's not an entrance door for customers. It's a access door, or really an egress door for the employees. And so you see the shed is proposed to be located directly opposite that door. We show a setback from the building of approximately 40 feet to that curb, and the shed, which is 12 feet wide by 10 feet deep and approximately 7 feet in height, would be located along the curb So if you notice, our setback as far as the side yard setback is concerned is only 0.7 feet. And you can see the 25-foot side yard setback, the dash line that cuts through the driveway that's utilized primarily for the patrons using the car wash out back. So the reason, again, for the shed is to provide additional storage for cleaning supplies and other things of that nature, that there just isn't room in the store for these things. It's also, for winter time, a small snow blower to do the walkway around the building, these kinds of things. Typically what we would all find in our sheds in our own yards. And in fact, we submitted a picture of the shed. That's not an absolute identical look, but that's basically what the shed is going to look like. As I said, much like we'd all have it in our yards. And it is for access for the employees so that they can access the additional supplies as well as equipment, to maintain the walkways and the like, primarily during the winter months. The justification for the variance is really a combination of two things. As it relates to the requirements on the Chapter 40A, that the conditions have to relate to the soil shape or topography of the lot. It's really not anything about the soil conditions, but the shape of the lot comes into play, because once again, you can see where the lot pinches in from the rear when it comes down along that driveway opposite the building, really right where we're proposing the shed. You can see what is almost a 90-degree angle on by the property line. The topography is also at play. Topography is not as limitedly defined as a lot of us think. Most of us think of topography in terms of the elevations of a lot. The actual definition of topography includes, in addition to elevation, other conditions on the property. So it includes natural as well as man-made conditions. So I would suggest to the board that it's really the fact that the lot has been fully developed as part of the convenience store. And as the members will recall, this store has been here long before Alltown Fresh moved in. And so because of these conditions, we've got the store taking up the space it takes up. We've got the access around the store. We've got the gasoline filling stations under that canopy. And so as you kind of roam the site on the site plan, you can see there really isn't another location that would practically accommodate the location of the shed that could be done in such a way that would meet the requirement of the bylaw. So I would respectfully suggest to the board that it meets the criteria under both the Easton bylaw as well as the state statute, Chapter 48, Section 10, for the board's consideration of the grant of the variance. The variance would be in the amount of the 25 feet minus the 8.7, so approximately 16.3 feet would be the requested variance if my math is correct. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'd be happy to entertain any questions that you or the other members may have.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions from the board? John?
None.
Tim?
Just a question on the right side of the plan. That looks like that island there. Is that owned by the state, or I see your property line goes through there? Would that not work? I can't see any details on that side, but.
Oh, over on the right side, Mr.
Yeah,
McCall,
right across
opposite
from where the
tables?
outdoor patio is in that section.
Yeah, the problem being that the access wouldn't work from that side from the building. That area doesn't have access. I think the problem being we'd have the same issue, because to place it there, if you notice, that driveway is a 24-foot width. It looks like that area on the other side of the curb is probably maybe that much, actually a little bit less than that. So we would still need a variance if we located it on that side.
Trying to zoom in here. Okay, I don't have any other questions.
Jeremy,
No questions. Thank you.
Steve,
What material is the shed gonna be made of? Do you know?
I believe it's going to be standard wood structure, again, much like we would get at, I don't want to name any of the stores, but any of the shed stores. I don't know if they have plans to try to match the colors to, my sense is that they probably will look to match the colors to the color of the store itself, but I'm not positive on that.
So you think it's gonna be wood, not one of those tin things? Is that
Oh
what you're
yeah,
saying?
it's not going to be a metal storage shed. It's going to be a wood shed, Mr. Merlin.
Okay, thanks.
I do not have any questions. If there's any member of the public that is here and would like to speak, if you could hit the raise hand function, that would be great. If not, Barry, my only other question is that access easement between the store and the Dollar Tree, does that get used? Does the shed at all interfere with any possible sight line there?
No, there's actually a stop sign right there at that curve and the curb next to the shed.
Okay.
So that the cars that might cross from the All Town to the Dollar Tree property, they don't go cutting across, and you know that back entrance to the Dollar Tree that comes out on the Bay Road.
Yeah.
So there is a stop sign there to hopefully flow that traffic from just cutting across.
Okay. Nobody's raised their hand, and I don't have any additional questions. So if no members of the board have any additional questions and you're all set, we can entertain a motion to close the hearing.
Motion to close the hearing?
Motion to close by Mr. Merlin, seconded.
I'll second that.
I think Mr. Curran was in first, and Tim, you
That's all
seconded last time. So John
That's all right.
seconds.
Yeah, make it fair.
Steve,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes,
Jeremy,
Yes.
and I vote to close as well. Somebody want to make a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve the application by Mr. Merlin. No conditions, Steve?
Yeah, as long as it's not metal.
Okay. I
I'm
don't know if
serious.
Is
Yeah,
that an
no.
official
Yes,
request to?
yes.
That's
Is that all
duly,
right with you, Barry?
that's duly noted, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, fair enough. Motion to approve by Mr. Merlin. John, or anybody? Second.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mr. Curran. All those in favor? Stephen?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Tim?
yes.
Jeremy?
Yes.
And I vote to approve as well. All right, you're all set, Barry. We'll get that filed, and your client will be all set to get that installed when they want.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members of the board. I appreciate it.
All
Have a
right,
good
have a
night,
good
guys.
night.
Okay,
Yeah,
good night.
Good night.
Right.
All right, so it's just the rest of us here. Why don't we do, anybody want to make a motion to approve the minutes from the April 6th meeting, I believe it is?
I'll move to approve the minutes from the April 6th meeting.
Motion made by Mr. Curran, seconded by
Second.
seconded by Mr. Merlin. All those in favor? Steve,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes,
Ed?
Yes,
Oh, now you're working.
Oh,
excellent.
And I'll vote to approve as well. Ed, now that you are working, you and I are the only ones coming up for the expiration of our terms at the end of June. You don't have to answer now. I just wanted to make sure you knew because it was not correct on the website.
I did see that. Yeah, it's June
Okay.
21, end of June.
End of June, right. So I think you have until, I want to say May 17th or the 27th. Suzanne, do you know what the date is?
I do not.
Okay. Presumably the end of the month. And I'll double check it and I can email it to you if you're interested in re-upping.
You guys want me to keep showing up? I'll keep coming.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. Wouldn't want it any other way.
And I'll try to keep my microphone on.
Well, not all the time, but all right, great. So if you have any questions, just let me know. There should be a link. I think we all got, anybody whose term came up got reminder emails. So
Yeah, I'm just gonna respond to that email.
yeah, there's a link in it that you can just fill in the application. So
Sounds good.
and if you guys will all have me, I'll re-up as well. So
Thank you.
That
I'll
would be
make that
good.
a condition of me. You've got to come big too.
There you go.
All right. Anybody have anything else they need to get off their chest?
Nope.
No,
Somebody want to make a motion to close?
Motion to
Motion to
adjourn.
close.
Motion to adjourn by Mr. Merlin, seconded by Mr. Watson. All those in favor? Steve,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Tim,
yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Jeremy,
Yes.
and I vote to close as well. There are, just so you know, there are 2 applications that have already been filed for June. So we have next hearing is June 8th.
Right.
And we'll get that out to you guys shortly.
Okay.
Thank
All right,
you.
Thanks,
you.
everyone. Have a great night. Stay
Thank you.
healthy.
Thanks, guys.
Take it easy. Good night.
Good night.